The Supreme Court gives President Trump a huge win, all as John Roberts is being accused of fearing riots. In this video, we're going to take a look at the huge win for President Trump with regard to illegal aliens and redistricting, how John Roberts is being called out as a coward by a growing number of voices, and what's really behind the corruption of our courts, and what we really need to do about it. You're not going to want to miss this. Welcome, everyone. Dr. Steve here, ready to bring you our latest episode celebrating the inevitable collapse of left-wing globalism and the unstoppable rise of a new conservative age. So if you haven't already done so, you know what to do. Make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. We'd love to have you as a regular part of this channel, where each and every day we focus on optimism and encouragement in the midst of all the defeatist fake news nonsense spewed out each day by our mainstream media. But first, let's give a huge shout out to the sponsor of this video, and that's our good friends over at Virtual Shield. Gang, if you're not using a VPN or a virtual private network on your desktop, tablet, or mobile device while browsing the internet, then you really are exposing yourself to a lot of potential danger. But protecting yourself online simply has never been easier. And to make it even better, Virtual Shield is offering our audience 50% off all VPN plans and all premium add-ons, so do not wait. It is a limited time offer. Click on that link below and sign up for a free 30-day trial to Virtual Shield VPN today. All right, let's dive right in here. Of course, the Supreme Court has been in the news of late at the forefront of the election fallout. But first, let's give credit where credit is due. We're seeing a 6-3 conservative majority prevailing here with regard to utterly thrashing a challenge to President Trump's plan to exclude illegal aliens from being counted in allocating congressional districts. As of today, it's been announced that the Supreme Court gave President Trump a huge win by throwing out a lawsuit that sought to block Trump's plan to exclude illegal aliens in the upcoming redistricting efforts. It was a case that was thrown together by a bunch of leftist blue states like New York and California, and the ultra-left ACLU, the American Civil Liberties Union. They came in. They all want illegal immigrants to be counted and given rights of U.S. citizens. But in a 6-3 ruling, John Roberts decided to side with the 5 conservatives and throw the case out, saying that President Trump has every right to exclude illegal immigrants from the new round of redistricting in 2021. So this is a big win for President Trump and redistricting efforts drawn around American citizens. Now, speaking of Roberts, a Republican official is claiming publicly that he has information that Roberts nixed the Texas lawsuit, the megaton lawsuit backed by 20 states, over 100 congressmen, because he was afraid of the riots that he thought would ensue were they to take the case and side on behalf of Texas. An elector from Texas by the name of Matt Patrick is claiming that Chief Justice Roberts actually yelled at conservative justices demanding that they join him in rejecting the Texas case. Now, again, just as a quick review, Texas filed a lawsuit against 4 states, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Georgia, claiming that they violated the Constitution in the manner in which they held their elections. The Supreme Court threw out the case on a technicality known as a lack of standing. It was not on the merits of the case itself. It was simply the justices decided that if these states violated the Constitution, that was not necessarily Texas's business. And this was admittedly the weakness of the Texas case. Why is Texas meddling in the affairs of Michigan, for example? So the court determined that they lacked standing. They themselves were not directly affected by what these 4 states did. But it seems that there's more to it than that. According to this Republican elector, Matt Patrick, he wanted a resolution passed among the electors when they met together to vote for President Trump. He wanted a resolution passed that stated, quote, "Whereas the members of the Presidential Electoral College from Texas condemn the moral cowardice of the United States Supreme Court in failing to accept the original jurisdiction of a suit by one state against another, be it resolved that the members of the Presidential Electoral College from Texas call on the state legislatures of Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Georgia, and Michigan to convene and appoint their electors in accordance with the true constitutional vote of the people, or if undeterminable, by appointing their electors directly." And then he proceeded to tell the story that he had heard. Justice Roberts told the conservatives on the Supreme Court, well, not so much told, but yelled at them that he was not going to risk the nation erupting in riots by taking this case. So it wasn't so much the constitutionality of the case, but rather a fear of the mob, as it were, that led Roberts to insist that the court not take the Texas case. Now, in fairness, the story, as I understand it, has some weaknesses, shall we say. The story was that Roberts could be heard yelling behind closed doors when the Supreme Court justices met. It's being reported, however, that the justices have not met face-to-face since the COVID restrictions started back in March. So that's clearly a weakness to the story. But Roberts is clearly in focus here among the deplorables. You heard about Lynnwood and his call for Roberts to resign. He tweeted out that this may indeed be the most important tweet of my life. Chief Justice John Roberts is corrupt and should resign immediately. Justice Stephen Breyer should also resign immediately. Amen to that, by the way. They are anti-Trumpers dedicated to preventing public from knowing truth of @real Donald Trump re-election. And then he went further. I have long had questions about the John Roberts on Jeffrey Epstein private jet flight logs. I suspected it was our Chief Justice. Mainstream media has shown no interest in investigating issue to find truth. America is now entitled to know the answer. Every lie will be revealed. Pray. He went there. Wow. Look, I don't know. We'll see what's going on with all that, but this came up last night during our live Q&A with our Insiders members about Roberts. For me, I think the key to all of this is not so much the possible corruption of Roberts. It's the corruption of our legal system and our judiciary. And a lot of people don't actually understand the history behind this corruption, the swampification, if you will, of our legal system. So indulge me for a moment here, because I think it's very important for us to understand what we're really up against. Now, before we get into that, I want to personally invite you to our exclusive New Year's virtual conference on January 9th, 2021, to help you feel prepared for the year ahead. We're going to give you the information you need to remain strong, confident, vibrant, whatever may come, precisely because we're going to give you a long-term perspective that will give you the assurance you need to head into the new year with confidence and resolve. Now, seating for the conference is limited, and to make it even better, today is the last day. We've got our early bird sale pricing for you can take advantage of. It ends at midnight tonight, Friday, and if you join our Insiders Club, you can even get more of a discount. So don't wait. Make sure to click on the link below. Take advantage of our early bird registration special, which ends this Friday. And you'll be glad to know that a portion of the proceeds will go to Good Neighbors Home Repair. So not only are you going to get blessed, but you're going to bless others with your registration. So do not wait. Click on that link below and register for our New Year's virtual conference today. All right, so legal scholars have detailed how judicial philosophy has radically changed over the last century. Okay, so for example, here in the United States, the Founding Fathers were all proponents of what's called natural law and the natural law tradition. Okay, that's an important term to know, natural law. And very simply, the idea here is that human law is not invented. It's more discovered, because human law is supposed to reflect transcendent divine law as it's revealed in nature and human reason. And the assumption here is that the world around us is filled with divine meaning and purpose. There is a transcendent telos, nature and nature's God, a divinely ordained integrity to the world, that human reason not only can discern, but is actually obligated to discern in the ordering of human moral and legal structure. That's what governed jurisprudence for basically 2,500 years in the Western tradition. But in the 19th century, as knowledge was more and more redefined solely around scientific rationalism, natural law assumptions began to collapse. And that's because science had supposedly revealed that there is no divine meaning or purpose to the world. It's simply made up of biological, chemical, and physical causal laws. And so in the place of natural law, you saw the emergence of what is in fact its antithesis, and that's what we call legal positivism. Legal positivists argue that all legal norms are mere human fabrications. They don't reflect a transcendent obligation inherent in the created natural order, but are rather the invention of populations. So legal positivists assume a radical nature-culture dichotomy, that would have been totally alien to our founding fathers. But that's the default legal position of the vast majority of our judiciary today. They are emphatically not an objective, independent branch of government. They are virtually all servants of legal positivism, and who in turn actually believe it's their job not to interpret the law, but to actually construct the law in accordance with their own modern understanding of the world. And so what we need to come to terms with here, and frankly, the scary thing to all of this, is that in natural law theory, there is a distinction between law and justice, in that while a society's laws can change, our standard for justice never does. That's because justice is a cosmic principle of eternal order and economy that serves to order and organize societies. The societies can change, but the standards by which they change do not. That means that there's a basis for citizens to contest unjust laws. A law is unjust when it's our moral duty to disobey it. But with positivist law, justice and law are consolidated, since there's no transcendent standard of justice in the created order, just cause and effect processes. And so what this means is that our very conceptions of justice are just as malleable, just as changeable as our laws. And since positivist law derives its legitimacy from the state, there is no basis for a citizen to contest the justice of the law beyond the decrees of the state. So what I would argue that positivist law is inherently tyrannical by nature. And that, my friends, is what we need to be keeping our eyes on. It's not so much whether Roberts is morally compromised or anything like that. Well, we'll of course see if that's the case. To me, it's more the fact that the legal system itself, of which Roberts is a practitioner and definer, the legal system itself has been radically liberalized and needs to return to the natural law tradition in order to restore a truly conservative legal standard in our society. Now, the good news is that's precisely what we are seeing today. We are seeing what's called the rise of post-secular law all over the place. But it's going to take a lot of work and a lot of patience to see post-secular law return to the natural law tradition at the highest levels of our courts. That is going to be our real goal here. Now, before you go, make sure to like this video, comment down below, and subscribe to my channel. And you'll definitely want to check out my latest video. I just uploaded it on how the Pentagon is halting Biden transition briefings as patriot militias are indeed infiltrating government at all levels. You're not going to want to miss that. So make sure to click on the link, and I will see you over there. God bless.